Tell me a little bit. You said you had someone in your group who was involved in street racing, and somebody's family passed away, and they went to jail, I believe.
Yeah,
And you
they
said
went to
they threw the
prison.
book at him.
Oh, totally. The reason was why he had already gotten in trouble before,
Ah,
and I think he stole his parents' car. So he had that, and he had other things, and then he decides to chase his girlfriend because she was mad at him, and they were, going really fast on the freeway. Then the girl that was driving decided to just get out really fast, but she got hit by another car.
Today, we have a special person who's put together an organization to help bring awareness to street racing, to the tragedies that happen during street racing. And hopefully, this message comes across to somebody, a family member, a friend, somebody who, needs guidance and needs help so that they don't go to the streets and start racing or start these racing groups that are, for some reason, they've just become kind of the regular thing. I see a lot of street racing, a lot of car meets nowadays. Let's go ahead and bring in our guest, Lili Trujillo, from Street Racing Kills, also known as SRK. And if you want to check out her website, go to streetracingkills.org. Lili, please introduce yourself.
Lili Trujillo Packet, founder and executive director of Street Racing Kills.
Thank you. And so I guess a couple of quick questions I want to ask is, how did you get started in this? What brought you to opening an organization like this?
Well, honestly, I never thought about having an organization or like say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and form this organization.
Right, of course.
Become a founder, have a nonprofit. And a nonprofit was. My daughter, was killed, due to a street racing crash. All I knew at the moment was that I was going to do everything I could to spare a parent from losing a child. The pain from losing a child it's very different, and not taken away from any loss, but it's very different pain when you lose a loved one, a father, a mother, a brother, a sister, as painful it can be, a friend. When you lose a child, it's a totally different ballgame. I thought I was in a movie when it happened to me. I thought this wasn't real, and it was a different pain. It was like it took so much out of me that I couldn't even function or do anything. It's like your soul is just ripped out from inside of you. You feel like you're dead, but you're alive at the same time. You die with your child when your child dies, and I just knew I was going to do something about it, but I didn't know what I was going to do.
Okay. And you came up with the name and everything, and you started this organization after how long of that? I mean, that must have been horrible.
After she was killed, it took me a while to find out what killed her. It took me a while to find and look at that report. Because for a long time I was like, okay, what did I do wrong? What did she do wrong? Was she a bad kid? Was she a bad teenager? What did she do? She went to a party and she was going to have a sleepover. Why did I let her go? But when they left that kickback party, teenagers, he was taking them home. He was taking her and her girlfriends home. Two were going to go to the sleepover, which was Valentina, her best friend, and then the girlfriend and friend was going to go back home. On the way there, he sees a co-worker. They looked at each other, they get side by side, and they get challenged to a race. He's going over 80 miles an hour. He sees the yellow light. He thinks he can make it. He doesn't. Can't stop anymore. Crashes against an SUV, and then it threw him right against the fence. When my daughter's best friend woke up, my daughter was hanging from the window of the Mustang, and she died from her head injuries. So it was a lot of questions for me as a parent, like, what did we both do wrong? And I went around and I said, well, you know what? If he didn't race, she'll be alive.
Right.
A street race killed my daughter. What is street racing? And I started seeing it more and more everywhere, and how little it was talked about.
Right.
And within 5 months of her death, her best friend actually called me and told me, would you mind speaking at my school? There's going to be an assembly. I didn't even know what assembly was. And I went in and I walked, and the guy that spoke about drugs spoke. The lady that spoke about alcohol spoke. And then it was my turn. And I talked for the first time about street racing. I spoke to over 2,000 kids at the high school. And I sat down. and I didn't cry for the first time. And the lady that was next to me, the alcohol, the one talk about alcohol, she's like, you don't know it, but your calling is calling you. And I went to see my therapist because I was in therapy. And she looks at me, she's like, you're smiling today. And I'm like, really, I am? She goes, yeah. And you know what, I think I just found a way of keeping her with me. And then another school, I had a PowerPoint. The next school, I had a logo. The next school, I had a name with my logo. And it just rolled.
Progressed.
Just kept going, kept going. I just let it happen because I feel like she was just guiding me, like, Mom, do this or that. And then I'm at Mayor Garcetti's office one day, and I'm talking to, legislators, and I'm just all over the place. Signs, do this, do that. It just kept rolling and rolling and rolling. And the reason why I think it was so easy to keep going is because I still have her with me. This is a way of me keeping her with me, So it's not just me, it's us.
It must be hard. I mean, what if a family goes through something like this? What are the steps to finding hope? How did you find hope doing this?
My hope is of no more crashes. My hope is no more parents losing their children, not outliving their children. I think my hope was to just keep this fight going, this mission of keep going and going. And I know that every time we have a conference, speaking engagement at a school, anything that we do, a workshop, everything, we know out of all those kids we can save one, we save the parent there. So that's like our hope is always to keep through our diversion program. Keep going, touch their heart, not their head. We want to touch their heart. I mean, anybody can tell them what to do, not to do. I feel like we were all teenagers at once, and we all know that we put our lives at risk at a certain point in our lives without thinking. And I feel like if I can touch that little piece of their heart, or they can remember anything that we talked about, they'll remember. Education is one of the most important things that we can do for these kids, about educating about the dangers of traffic safety, what to do if you're in a car. In my daughter's case, my daughter was sleeping, trusted the driver. Her girlfriend saw the whole thing happen. All she did was put her seatbelt on because she got scared because she felt the speed. She reacted. She even told her, put your seatbelt on. She was like, why? Like, boom, they crashed, So these things, we teach the kids how to protect themselves. If they're in a situation like that and you get one kid to listen, if she's in the same situation, she's going to do something about it. She's going to tell them to stop. She's going to scream. I always tell them, you're going to throw up in their car if they don't stop. Tell them, call the police. Anything you can do, So if they ever get in a situation like that. And also the driver, the responsibility when you have people in the car. So these are just little skills that we try to give to the teenagers and adolescents, And then, of course, then we jump to young adults and parents, because I see it now as parents, we're so focused on working, right? We have to have a roof over their head. We gotta make sure they go to school and they eat, for holidays to do something with them. We are not seeing life throughout their eyes. We're seeing them throughout our eyes and what we're doing. And I feel like a parent can really, really not do no wrong, because we don't know. We're parents, we're trying to do our best. But in their mind, they're seeing things different than we are. And it's so important to talk to them.
I think a lot of teenagers, a lot of kids who get their driver's license, they just don't understand, the severity of the liability that they carry on a daily basis as a driver, and the responsibility. And you see a lot of kids purchasing, different types of vehicles that are equipped for racing and stuff like that, without having the second thought of, this can change someone's life. If God forbid something happens, it can destroy a family. And I'm getting like goosebumps from it, but I think a lot of kids just don't understand it. And it's good what you're doing, because it brings light, like you said, it shines light to it, and it makes them realize that, you know what, maybe I should drive my race car, or whatever they want to call it, slow, and let people see you in it, versus having, someone fly by when no one can actually see you in the car. My uncle always used to tell me that, how do you do that? But it's about having courtesy on the road, making sure you don't harm anybody, because daily driving is such a liability, and no one really pays attention to
Totally.
the change that can happen in a split second.
In a split second, I think that, like you're saying, people just don't see it until it happens to them. Have you ever seen memorials? They're in the streets, and someone died there in a crash. When you see a picture, when you see flowers, when you see, candles, and if you don't know it, you're like, oh, okay, you can keep going, right? Nobody knows the pain that's behind that. Nobody knows that there's somebody trying to do a GoFundMe for the first time in their life. Nobody knows about they were trying to raise funds to do a funeral, and who do I call? What do I do? People going to the morgue, people trying to get their loved one out of the morgue or out of the hospital. The fees for the attorneys, right? I have to get an attorney now for this. Now I gotta go to court. What's my steps? Now I need what's a DA? What's a district attorney? What's a criminal defense attorney? I mean, there's people just going. There's so much pain and so much chaos behind those beautiful flowers and candles that you see there, and it's 100% preventable. We can have more flowers in our house, not in our streets, by educating people, by us being more conscious of the wheel, by the people doing those commercials that they promote speed instead of safety. I mean, you see those commercials, and they're not saying how beautiful and safe the car is. They're telling you how fast it can go.
Right.
It's such a big problem, and things that have to be, and it goes beyond even me just speaking. It's a lot of us are in the traffic safety world, but our voices are so low, and we try to get them so high, and it's like a battle. But then you see all these things happening so easily, and you're like, why saving a life so difficult?
What type of safety programs does your group offer for schools and education facilities?
I created different ones that you can go on my website and check them out. So there's no excuses to tell me you can't come in.
Right.
And unfortunately, a lot of schools are just focused on their kids graduating, and then realize that so many kids will not graduate because they passed away in a crash.
Right.
I think that it is very, very sad that California has no more driver's education.
Yeah.
It is very sad that they took it away. New York has it, other states have it. It's mandatory by the DMV to have driver's education, not just to learn how to drive, not just to pass that test, but touch every subject, from street racing, texting and driving under the influence. I mean, everything you can imagine, hit and run, pedestrian safety. All of those subjects are touched normally in any other state. Why doesn't California do that? Yeah. And you talk to any other people that provide, they always say, the California is the one with the less requirements. And we have these young minds that doesn't want to do, they all want to drive. One day you ask them, and someone will wait till they're 18.
Wow.
That way they don't need to do hardly anything. And then so their friend teaches them how to drive, so I think it should be mandatory. And I would love to just, have that bill, come through a legislator that listens to me and see the importance of it, and name it under my daughter's name, Valentina.
It's a beautiful name, by the way.
Thank you.
And how long ago did they take away these educational programs? How many years has it been?
I have no idea. All I know is that since maybe 20 years now. I don't know. I just know that since I know of it, it didn't exist.
It doesn't exist, yeah.
Yes. But of course, when we get there, but think how many schools there is in California.
Yeah.
Hundreds.
Yeah. If not thousands.
Sometimes you'll pick a motivational speaker who's going to talk about everything, and I'm not taking away from that, but if they have that year, then that's it. You got a motivational speaker to speak to you a little bit about driving, a little bit about preventing suicide or drugs, but everything has to be. I mean, these kids deserve to have everything.
What about street racing tracks, and where can someone go? Is there a place for somebody to go to that is involved in some type of sport that involves racing or track or something like that? Is there somewhere that you know of?
Yes, there's Willow Springs, there's Irwindale, there's other there, Button Willow. This one was a little further away, but they have events all the time, you know, and I feel like maybe directing these young people and young adults into going to those places and having fun while doing it safely,
Yeah.
and not doing it on our streets is very important.
Yeah.
After the pandemic, during the pandemic, is when it got a little worse, and that's when the takeovers came. You don't only risking your life, you're risking yourself going to prison and changing your life forever.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We not only do this because of people that are dying and getting injured, we do this because the person that's doing it doesn't wake up that morning and say, oh, today I'm going to kill someone, or today I'm going to end up in jail.
And so what are some of the safety protocols that these tracks have? Is there, I mean, I've seen, from what I've seen, is helmets. Obviously you don't have anybody else in the car, so you can't really hurt anybody else, obviously, except for yourself.
You're under the influence of the car culture when you're there. You have all these cool cars that you can see. I mean, I personally don't like the smell of burnt rubber.
Yeah.
They love it.
Nobody likes it. I don't like it.
Oh, they're like, and they're there.
Right. Yeah.
They're so happy. I like the food trucks.
Okay.
And I like it when the people that we mentor, because we have a diversion program where we talk to all these people that are actually doing the bad stuff and they get in trouble, and the court sends them to us and we see them over Zoom. And I love seeing these 20, 21, 22-year-old, even girls, and and when we get them to come to the track with us, we give them free tickets to go to the track. We bring, I always bring an expert, from the car culture, or an expert racer, or anybody to talk to them. Bob Beck is amazing. He is the announcer at the track, and he'll come and talk to them as well. And just bringing them to a place where it's legal, it's safe. I mean, if your car flips, anything happens, there is someone right there. There's the fire department right there. They have someone there to help you to make sure you're okay, so nothing's going to happen to you. Even if the car catches on fire, they'll be right there to turn it off and save you. Right. And they do check the car to make sure everything's okay. Then there you go. You can race a cop. There's the LASD Motorsports, and he's amazing. And he's from the Sheriff's Department. The organization is called Los Angeles Sheriff's Department Motorsports, and they race at different tracks, and they also go to schools to make sure that these kids, go to the right place, or get them off the streets and come with us over here and have fun. I mean, however, we need more tracks.
Yeah.
We need the cities to allow more tracks. They're not allowing them. On the opposite, they're closing them. You also have to give a place where they can go and have their fun. And we're not going to get rid of the car culture. It's been years, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Don't give it a bad name. Why don't you honor it instead of destroying it?
Yeah. One of the things that I think makes such a big impact nowadays, especially since a lot of kids, are on their cell phones, and they're using their cell phones to record things for Instagram. And I think bringing awareness of what you guys are doing, bringing this awareness of, don't try to be the cool guy. Don't try to do the street racing. Don't try to do the donuts, because at the end of the day, like we've seen on TikTok and Instagram, I mean, there's so many people getting hurt, and it happens on a regular basis.
They'll show you.
Yeah.
With your pants down. I mean, they don't care. You'll be shown.
Yeah.
Even if you're dead, they'll show you dead.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
It's very sad. And so, yeah, I'm glad that your organization is bringing light to this.
Thank you.
I, appreciate you coming down here. I know that you're coming from a, long drive, and, thank you so much for being a guest here. And I hope that we can help you in any way, touch more hearts and maybe bring more awareness to what you guys are doing. What's the best way for somebody to get a hold of you or to contact you? I know I had explained that in the beginning, but if you could please, that would be great.
No, definitely. Please, anything, any parent, anybody, you guys out there, you want more tracks, let's do something about it. Come on, let's join this movement to save lives and have more tracks out there. Not just me, the whole, Street Racing Kills team is here for you, mothers, parents, schools. Reach us at streetracingkills.org. All our information is there, the email's there, and the phone number's there. We're more than happy to do anything we can do to save a life.
You heard it, guys. Well, thank you for joining us today. Please like, share, and subscribe. And stay tuned for our next episode with the D4A Personal Injury Show. This is Jean-Paul, signing out.